Hello and welcome. Today's another unboxing, but unfortunately it's another unboxing without a box. So here you go. A Trijicon Accupower 1 to 4 by 24. That's basically it. There's no box because I bought this used, and unfortunately the seller did not say that he did not have a box for it, but shame on me for not asking. Anyway, it was too good of a deal to pass up. I paid right around 500 bucks for this, which some of you might be thinking that's a lot of money, but I felt it was a good enough deal to give it a shot and go for it. It did come in this American Defense QD mount, and ever since Sparks had sent me his Gen 2 Razor HD with this mount, I just had to have one. It is friggin' awesome. Everything about it is cool. Quick adjust. All you have to do is push over, fine tune, and then it seats. The hex, if I can get the focus, will seat in there, just like so. And then the levers, the throw levers themselves, do have locks on them. So once I had gotten the chance to play with his for a little bit, I needed to have one in my life. Not only is the base itself really cool, but the top clamshells are removable, and I can put whatever size I want on this. American Defense sells every size that you would need. This is, of course, being a 30 millimeter, but they sell 34, 35, so really, really, really cool. I wanted something that I can put on all of my review scopes and ensure that it's going to hold zero perfectly and fit a plethora of different sizes, so this was a no-brainer. But this is not a mount review, or at least not yet. I will do a review on this soon enough, but this is a scope unboxing first look. So because we don't have a box, we're done with that. So now we can take a look at the scope itself. And this is a pretty nice little piece of kit. I bought this to possibly replace my Steiner P4XI on my go-to rifle. And if I'm going to do it with anything, I'm going to do it with something like this Trijicon. On paper, this stacks up very, very closely to the Steiner as far as what it is, the reticle options, and the price. New, you can get this for around $600 to $800. Used, you can find this in the 400 plus range. So when I paid about 500 for the scope and the mount, yeah, it didn't have a box, but that's not really a deal breaker for me. Anyway, you can tell that this has been pre-loved. There's a couple little kiss marks across the entire body of this thing. And on the front, there's a slight little dent right there. You can see the marks, but there is no damage to the glass, and everything else seems to be doing pretty good on it. You can almost see the reticle through there. So what do we have? So that basically covers that. As far as the fit and finish, all things considered, it's exceptional. It feels really good. It looks really good in hand. I've had the opportunity to hold these at gun shows, but I've never owned one or have gotten to use it extensively like I'm going to do with this. So my goal for this is to not only just see what it looks like, but to really throw it up against the Steiner. Because if it is better than the Steiner, I would replace it with it. But knowing how well the Steiner performs, this has its work to cut out for it. One feature I like, which I like on most scopes, is the inclusion of a throw lever. This one is non-adjustable, but it is in the proper position. It is at the 9 o'clock, and it sweeps all the way to the 3 o'clock or so. So 180 degrees to get this from 1x to 4x. The action on this adjuster ring is smooth. There is no play in it whatsoever, and it has the perfect amount of resistance. Now, I don't know how old this is. I'm sure I could try to cross-reference the serial number, but I'm not overly concerned about it. But it feels fantastic. I'm sure if this was new, it would be a little bit tighter, but this is like the perfect amount of resistance. It's just that it's 180 degrees worth of throw, but that's pretty standard. The Steiner's the same, and most of the other LPVOs that I've reviewed are about 180 degrees, maybe a little bit more if it's a 1 to 6. With that, we're going to come to the illumination turret, which is from 1 to 11 with off in between each one, and this is a good time to talk about the reticle. So this is a 223 segmented circle with green illumination. One thing I can say I like about it is that it has drops all the way down to 800 yards. I think that's a little optimistic, but it's nice to have. I'm pretty sure this is calibrated for a 55 grain 223, and at that for 800 yards is pretty optimistic, but it's there, which is fine. The crosshair inside the actual segmented circle is extremely fine, which I'm sure is going to be great for precision targets. I wouldn't worry so much about getting on target fast because the segmented circle seems like it's a pretty good size to engulf most targets that you would need just to get a hit. If you were looking to get more precise, the crosshair will perform more than adequate for that. One thing about the illumination that I can say is I don't believe that this is daytime bright. I did replace the battery when I first got this, even though it made no change to the brightness. And that's one thing I'm going to gripe on a little bit. I don't think the illumination on this green version, at least, is up to par for daytime illumination. It might be a deal breaker for you, it might not, but that's how it is so far in my testings. As far as what's under the caps, we have these really nice dials, which are marked out, if I can get it to focus, which are marked out in quarter MOA increments. And the action is, it's okay. There is some play, very minor bit of play, but I'll show you why I think that might be the case. Detent is sharp, though it does leave a little to be desired. But again, you're literally going to set this and forget it. But what's really cool about these turrets is that once you set it, let's say that's it, you pop up and you reset to 0. So I think that system might be allowing a little bit of movement back and forth. So not a big killer for me, as you know. A capped LPVO doesn't need any sort of specialty turrets as long as they are accurate in their movement. This seems to be pretty good. Let's check over here. Same sort of wiggle. Same sort of action. Not half bad. I do like that these are very easy to adjust and very easy to reset. Good on Trijicon for this. I really like these. And they've still managed to have the caps be fairly low profile at the same time. It's not like they're overly obtrusive or anything like that. They're the same size as the illumination ring, and I think it looks pretty good. Coming down to the bottom, it's going to be hard to see, but we will then see that it is made in Japan, and you have the serial number and the model number right there. And again, the fit and finish on this thing is pretty sweet. Ocular adjustment, pretty smooth, but it seems pretty fast. There's a slight noise in there, but it might be a little piece of debris or something from the previous owner. The glass in this seems pretty good so far. We'll get more in depth on the eye box and everything with the final review. But so far, initial impressions on this are pretty high. I like the look, I like the weight. Even with the mount, this thing is still pretty light. Trijicon are not known for having very heavy scopes, one characteristic I really like. But that is all for now. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my content and you feel like supporting me in any way, shape, or form, I don't normally do this, but I do have a Patreon page that is linked into the description. Go check it out. I also post a lot of behind-the-scenes video up there for any Patreon provider that is so willing to support the cause and the channel, and it is always greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.